the only thing I really want you to take away from this is a fiery interest in going to see this incredible place. So, I did write down a few of the organizations, the travel agencies in the States that regularly take trips. But we looked at those, and you have to take their trip. We're used to doing our own trip. So I put together a trip. We looked at what turns out to be 20 or so online Iranian companies, and decided, all right, we'd pick those 3 or 4 that seemed to have the most versatile websites, most robust websites in English, since, unlike Bill, who has a smattering of Farsi, we had none. Wrote to them, received answers, did some back and forth, chose one, and so the 6 of us had planned an itinerary, which I will just run around quickly for you, and sent them that itinerary, and through the following 3 or 4 months worked out what we wanted. Certainly, their starting view was we wanted whatever accommodation or whatever in the town we were going to, which shouldn't be too remote and was on this tourist trail, would be what we would want. Well, we actually love deserts, among other things, and I was determined we were going into the desert. And so that took about a month to work out, because she kept writing back, surely you don't want to do this, or surely you understand that Iran's deserts are very unforgiving and very this and very that. And I would write back and say, Google says there is a road that goes from here to there, and I have found a family homestay out there. And get the message back saying, at which you must sleep on the floor. I wrote back and said, we'll love sleeping on the floor. Besides, it says there's home cooking, because there's no other kind of cooking. At any rate, it all worked out. We got to the desert. We made a wonderful loop. We were gone for 3 weeks. And one of the things that we did before we went, and you can just flip through this, we chose 18 places. Maybe that's a little bit more than 18 places, yeah. We chose 18 places, 24 places. And we divided them up among those of us who were going. And each person did, we wanted one-pagers from everybody on each of the places that we went. And then I put them together in a book, so that in addition to our guide, and we had a driver and a guide who spoke very good English and who knew a lot about the places, but we also had one of us for each of the places who had done the reading on that place, and we had a one-pager, if you will, in our book on those places. So we felt as though we had a lot going for us. So we did that. One of the blessings for us of this trip was, because there were only 6 of us, and at that an unruly 6 of us, whenever we were off the bus, we tended to disperse among, one of us would go sort of this way, another one a little bit that way, which meant we met people. And there was nothing so startling in life, not in Tehran or Isfahan or Shiraz, but in all of the other places, somebody would kind of look and then they'd come back and ask in English, French. I'd say no. German. Dutch. Oh, you're English. Australian. We'd finally end up saying, no, we're American. And the reaction to a person everywhere was, an American! I I would guess, half a dozen times every day in Iran, with arms around our newfound friends. So it was this incredible experience. I'm sure this has happened to many of you who are at least as traveled as we are. You traveled 20, 30 years ago, and people were really happy to see Americans, Egypt. I mean, we went to Syria, not actually even 20, 30 years ago, across the globe, really happy to see us. And I think, in my view, we chewed up a lot of goodwill since September 11th. And we are not as welcomed in many places. But at least through 2014, that is absolutely not the case in Iran. So it was so heartwarming to be there. The other thing, which frankly from a political point of view I don't understand why the government is doing, but education is universal. All little girls and all little boys go to school. School is a must through 7th grade or thereabouts. In addition, and according to whoever report I have here, the percentage of young girls in school in Iran is the highest in the world. Higher than it says anywhere in the world. I don't know whether I believe that, but it's high. Starting in 3rd grade, everybody must take English, so that you do not have a population that's everybody speaks fluent English, but you have a population where everybody speaks basic English. Everybody can say hello, how are you? All of the road signs throughout Iran are in English. The money, Iran's money, I have a bill in here somewhere, is Farsi on one side and English on the other, which is very helpful. You know, going to foreign countries, you can't read the money. You can read the money in Iran, no problem at all. And in fact, that's very important, because one of the things we have done here is to assure that it's difficult to travel in Iran. You can't use plastic. So while Chris paid all of our bills, he carried none of the money. The money was all around my neck. And every time he needed to spend something, he can't, I would go like this, and everybody would watch while I pulled it out in the market, in the restaurant, wherever it was. I needed to provide some money out. It came. Nobody would be abashed at that at all. So anyway, that's how it was. Let's see, there were some questions I wanted to make sure I answered.
And this was 2014?
2014, yeah. So, is it safe? That was my question. Yes, it's incredibly safe. Now, could you ever walk anywhere where it might not be safe? I'm sure that's true. But in the urban centers or the rural centers or the tourist sites, it's completely safe. Now, of course, part of the reason that it's safe is in a regime that has a government like that, and those of you who travel know, those places are really safe to travel in. Nobody dares get out of line. But it also means that you're not worrying about having your purse snatched or being otherwise intruded upon. You are intruded upon, because if they discover who you are, you're going to have your picture taken, then they want you to smile. So I suppose in that respect that it is. But, it was just remarkable. The Iranians hate us. I did this. Our Americans allowed to travel. Yeah, but why did we want to go? You know, in part, the history of that part of the world is just so incredibly rich. There's, you know, the early civilization starts, the buildup of the Zoroastrian religion that then gave way to various forms of other religion, and then the conquering by the Muslims and all. It produced, and the kingdoms and the richness of Cyrus and all of the sort of the center of the world, with the Ecbatana, which is now the city of Hamadan, which there's practically nothing left of the site, but it was once the most opulent, considered the most opulent, most sophisticated city on earth. And sure, I mean, it was 1,000 years ago, but one of the things that you feel sort of palpably there is a sense of the people as a nation. Unlike the years we spent, I think a lot of you know I was on the board of a school in Lebanon for 17 years, so I got to go to Lebanon 4 times a year through the 17 years. And you know, Arab history is so rooted in family and tribes and a way of looking at the world that doesn't have to do with nationhood. Iran, it is a place where their poets, their history, yes, there are a lot of Shiite Muslim holidays, but their major holiday is Nowruz, which is a celebration of spring. And it goes back to their roots of 1,000 years before the Muslims came to the country. And you feel that. You feel that in the families that visit all of these incredible sites. You feel it in, they say that there's no, of course, any absolute isn't true, but they say there's no household in Iran that doesn't have books of poetry, and especially, and that there's no man, woman, or child who cannot quote Hafez. It's so much in their culture, and you're aware of it. You're just day after day aware of it.